Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. My name is Jennifer. Um, it's going to be a short one. I know I've been saying that a lot lately, but I just have not been feeling very well and have not been doing a whole lot of crafting. So I do have a few things that, like clothing items, store-bought clothing items that I've refashioned in a certain way that I'm going to show you, and that's kind of what I've been spending my time on this week, is redoing some of those things. I did start a new project. I know I have a ton of them on the go right now, but most of them are blankets, and I do kind of need to take a break from those every now and then. So I'm going to go ahead and get into new items. I do have a few new items this week, and they are still in the bag, so I'll try not to crinkle them too much. They're just some mainstays yarn that are going to be for tutorial projects. So there's this one, which is just red, so it's just your kind of typical kind of bright colored red. So I got that one, and then I got soft pink, which is the same one that I did my Christmas stocking in. And then, as you can tell, these are all Valentine's Day colors, so these will be going into Valentine's Day tutorials. The next few things are from Dollar Tree, and they're just organizational things. They're all the same thing. They're these little pouches, and they have a magnetic backing, so they have two magnets here. But the pouches have this clear plastic front, and they do open up pretty wide. But I have a set of two metal cabinets, like the old ones that they used to have in like pharmacies and hospitals and stuff, over on that wall. So these will be perfect for that because they're magnetic, so I can just slap them on there, and they're big enough to actually be able to store stuff, and they have the clear plastic on the front, so I can actually see what's in there. So I did get four of these total, and I think they're going to be really useful, so I'm excited to be able to use them. And that is all the new items that I got. I do have, like I said, I've been doing some mending and some refashioning of some of my current clothing. And these are both sweaters. So I normally buy most of my clothing secondhand, usually at Goodwill. These I've had for several years, so they're old and worn, but they're comfortable, and I really like them. But this one had a very weird collar on it. It had a kind of tall collar with a zipper that went on the side, and I didn't like wearing the sweater because the collar bothered me a lot. And if you've been watching me for a while, you know that I don't like high collars. That's why I'm not going to put it on the sweater that I'm currently working on. So both of these sweaters kind of had a high collar issue to them, but I really like the sweaters themselves, so I wanted to refashion them to where I could take the collar off and just be able to wear the sweater without it bothering me. So the first one is this one, and the sweater itself is really nice because it has all of this ferrule on it. As you can see, it is a rather worn sweater. I have wore this for many, many years now, but it's comfortable and it's warm, and I care more about being warm than fashion. So I wanted to be able to wear this sweater without it bothering me. So I took the collar off, which the collar itself was a good 2 inches high, and then it had the zipper on the side, and I really just didn't like it. No matter how I tried to fold it over, it wouldn't stay. I've tried like pinning it down with thread, and it just wouldn't stay, and it was always weird. And so I ripped the collar out, and this one actually did not have the sweater bound off. It was raw stitches on the edge, and of course it's knit, so I had to do that very carefully, and I had to pick up all of those knit stitches, and I just did a single crochet around it, and then around where the zipper was, because all of those stitches just looked weird because it's in this seam section, and some of them towards the top were open stitches, and so the way, with how many stitches I had to pick up, it is a little ripply, as you can tell, but I'm fine with that. I think it'll work out fine once I wash it. I haven't worn this yet, so I haven't had a need to wash it because it was already clean. But I do think that I'm going to like it a lot better now that it doesn't have that collar. And I just took one of my decorative buttons out of my bin over here, that I have a big, one of those extra large coffee cans that's full of buttons, and I just chose one that matched best with the coloring of the sweater, and which was this kind of a dark brownish black button, and it kind of has a swirl in the middle. And then I just created a little loop, and I used, to do all this, I used the yarn from the collar that I took off. I unwound it and used the yarn so it would match. So it looks like that. I think it turned out fine, and that's the back. Other than it's a little bit ripply, but I think once I wash it, it'll probably, you know, work itself out. So that's one that I've been working on. I have also had another sweater that had a hole in it. It was a knit sweater. It had a hole in the arm right here, and I went ahead and picked up all those stitches and fixed the hole. But I didn't bring that out because it's just a simple little hole. And this is my most favorite sweater in the entire world. It is big and baggy and comfortable, and I've had it forever. But it also had a very high rolled collar on it, so the collar rolled underneath, and I have always wore it where I've kind of just rolled it down as far as I could get it, and then kept doing that throughout the day. I'm sure you've seen me in several videos messing with the collar on this particular sweater. But it is my favorite sweater. I know it's not pretty or anything, but it is the warmest thing and the most comfortablest sweater that I have ever owned. So I wanted to take the collar off of it. So I did the exact same thing, was I just pulled the collar off of it, but this one was actually, the neck of the sweater was bound off, so I could just cut the collar off, and then just use the yarn from the collar to go around it. The only problem was the collar had one of these weird decrease things, and it wouldn't let me unpick it for some reason, so I had to cut it. I had to unwind it until it got to that seaming section here for the decrease for the shoulder. I had to cut it before it and then cut it afterwards, and then tie those two ends together in order to be able to get all the way around the edge here. Yeah, it does have this weird like bump here, but that was there before, so it's some manufacturer's mistake, but it doesn't bother me. It's never bothered me, and you can't see it once you're wearing it. So I think I'm going to like this much better now. So I have been working on those. They did take me quite a while because, like I said, these are worn sweaters. I've worn them a bajillion times, and I bought them used on top of that, so they've been washed and dried and all of that numerous times. So unpicking the collars to get the yarn to use to be able to put the new crochet border on was a little bit of work, especially on this one, because I had to cut it and then, you know, knot or tie those ends together and all of that. So I'm very happy to be able to wear these now, because I've had them sitting there for a little bit, and I probably would have wore this particular sweater several times this week already. So, but I haven't, since I wanted to save it to show you guys that you can take store-bought clothes and refashion them into, you know, garments that you actually like everything about. I am not a color person. I try to not buy anything that has a color on it, or I take the color off. I have done this on other sweaters in the past. So it's just not that hard. You just have to be very careful on figuring out how the sweater is constructed and all of that. Like I said, I had one that I had to pick up stitches, and another one that was completely bound off, and I didn't have to really worry about anything other than, you know, just attaching the new edge on it. So this one is a new project. It's currently the only whip that I worked on this week, and I've really only worked on it one day. I spent an entire day just lazing around, and I actually kind of posted this in the Facebook group, you know, that day, just sharing with you what I had done that day. And I have quite a bit here, even though it may not look like it, because I'm doing the panels back to back. So I seen a dress that The Secret Yarnery, she has a podcast just like I do, and she had come up with this granny square dress that has a A-line skirt, and she doesn't have a tutorial on it, but I really liked the dress, so I wanted to come up with my own version of it. I have a different granny square that I'm using, and of course I don't know how she did her skirt portion, so I'm going to have to come up with my own way of doing that. But I am coming up with my own pattern for her design, and I've only seen it kind of in the background of her videos. I mean, she has talked about it a little bit, but like I said, she hasn't really gone into great detail as far as I've seen. She has no tutorial for it or anything like that, but I really like it, so I wanted to, like I said, come up with my own version for it. And I have a ton of mandala that I got on clearance a while back. I paid $1 a skein for these. So this one is mandala serpent. So you have browns and grays and whites and yellows in it. Not necessarily my color palette, but I do have quite a bit of these. I have 5 of these sitting here, and I still have a couple more over in my stash over there. So it's enough to make this dress. Like I said, it's not really my color palette, but I am, you know, kind of stepping out of my comfort zone with this dress. And if it turns out the way that I like it, hopefully I'll be able to share it with you guys. But we'll see. Like I said, I'm kind of just flying by the seat of my pants with just an image of what I'm working on. So it is a granny square dress, where the top of the dress is a granny square, and then you have an A-line skirt portion that you attach after you've seamed all the granny squares together. So I've done my calculations, and I don't think I wrote it down, but my squares need to be, I think it's 21.5 inches per square, so 21.5 inch square for the front and one for the back. So the way that I've worked it is I'm able to, because these skeins have basically 4 colors. The yellow has a different variant of the yellow color, and the gray has like 2 different variants of gray in it. But I'm just going with the basic colors. So the way that I've worked it out, I've managed to, I did this brown square, and then I measured across, figuring out how many inches that was, and it was exactly 5. So 5 rows will give me 5 inches, and once I get all the way through all of the colors, I'll be exactly where I need to be for my length. Although the gray will be just a little bit more, because I have that, you know, extra 1.5 inches or whatever it is that needs to be done. But what I'm doing is I'm taking those 5 rows and doing one color, and then I'm taking 5 rows and doing the next color. So I'm cutting the yarn at that 5 rows and then starting the next color. So I'm winding up with these little bundles like this of, you know, the bits of color that I haven't used, but I want to be able to have each color throughout the whole thing. So this will be, like I said, the front panel. It's definitely going to be out of my comfort zone. I don't normally do color blocking or stripes for my clothing or anything like that, especially not in these colors. Most of my wardrobes is dark colors, you know, like blacks and blues and grays. I have a lot of reds and stuff like that, but I don't think I have anything that's yellow. I hardly have anything that's white or tan. I'm not a tan person at all, so it's definitely out of my comfort zone. So what I'm doing is I'm doing each color block on this one, and then I'm working the next color. I'm doing that same color on the next square, which will be the back, and then I'm going back to this square for the next color, and back and forth. That way each panel will be done at the same time, and then I can just seam them together however I'm going to seam them together. I haven't figured that out yet. I may do a seam as I go, but so I think that this is going to be different, but definitely, you know, worth my time. So I have just started the yellow here, and the square that I'm using is a solid granny square that has no holes. So there's no joining holes in the corners at all, which I think is really nice for a garment piece. So the way that I'm doing this, I shouldn't have to wear an undershirt or a underdress or slip or anything like that with this dress, because it'll be completely holeless. So I'm picking the specific colors out of separate skeins. So I kind of got a bunch of half skeins here and a couple brand new ones that I am saving for just the skirt portion, because the skirt portion I may not have to actually do the color blocking. We'll have to see. I don't know whether I'll just be able to start at the beginning of one of the mandalas skeins and then work my way through. I guess we'll have to see. Or I could continue with the striping effect of 5 rows of each color, and then another 5 rows of each color until I get the length that I need it to be. I haven't got that far yet. I don't know how I'm going to work that out, but I am really excited about this project because it's just kind of off the top of my head. I mean, a lot of my projects and tutorials and everything, I kind of have at least a stitch pattern that I am going off of, and I go from there. This, I kind of have an image of what her dress looks like, and I'm turning it into my own thing. So definitely check her out if you haven't. Her channel name on YouTube is The Secret Yarnery. So she lives in Kenya. I really like her podcast, and she does a live every week too. So she's really fun, and all of her projects are in really gorgeous bright colors. So her actual craft room that she has is just full of beautiful colors just sitting in the background, and she can whip out a blanket like crazy. So like I said, if you haven't checked her out, definitely do. But I am excited to see how this is going to turn out, and I think it'll be a comfortable dress too, because you know mandala is very soft, and it tends to flow really well, and I'm using a 5mm crochet hook for this. So, oh, and I got this square out of my new granny square book, so I'll be really excited to kind of see how this is going to come together. So like I said, I don't have any work on any of my other projects this week. It's kind of been one of those weeks I just not been feeling very well, and it's been busy too. I've been doing other videos and working on my website and my store, you know, and all of that. So my time has been spent in other places other than just crochet. And yeah, so that is all I have for this week. So I'll see you next time. Have a great day.